Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have another chalk drawing to share with you today. This is for the letter X for our Islamic Waldorf-inspired main lesson block on the letters. So the first thing I'm going to do is erase our previous chalk drawing. I am using chalkboards from waldorfsupplies.com. They are 22 inches by 32 inches. They are lightweight and portable and really fantastic for this series of chalk drawings. I'm also using my Sargent Art chalk pastels. I really like these chalk pastels because they have a brilliant, beautiful color. They may not erase entirely, but I found that once I put on a new chalk drawing, you can't really see the previous chalk drawing from before. But if you really need to get your chalkboard really clean, you can use a damp cloth. Alright, so we are up to letter X for this series of chalk drawings for the alphabet. And I have to say that this one was rather challenging, not just in trying to find a word that began with X, but also trying to do the chalk drawing itself. So I have chosen X as in X marks the spot on a map. It is not super creative, and I think that if I had given this a little bit more time, I might have found other words, ones that start with EX, for example, that might have worked out a little bit better. But I went ahead and I decided to do a map, and I tried to do the edges kind of like an old map that might have been burnt or weathered or just crinkly around the edges, but it doesn't look that way to me once the chalk drawing is done. Also, the proportions on this chalk drawing aren't that great. Map making and map drawing is not my skill set at all. So while this may represent the area, it's just not that great of an accurate representation. But that's okay. With this series of chalk drawings, accuracy wasn't my focus, it was inspiration, and this does the trick because it gives my daughter an idea of the locations that we're going to be talking about for this story and how far apart those locations are. This is still abstract for a 7-year-old, and so I don't spend too much time with explaining the distances between Mecca, Medina, and Ta'if, or the different bodies of water. I've identified them all for her, but I'm not going to test her on this. I'm not really going to ask her to have a clear understanding of the distances between these locations other than understanding how long it takes, or rather how long it took in the past to get to these different locations, because that's significant for the story. So this story is going to be on the city of Ta'if, which is a little bit south and east of the city of Mecca. And this is at a time when the Prophet ﷺ was traveling to different areas surrounding Mecca in order to spread the message of Islam. Now, his time in Ta'if is a sad time. The people were not kind to him. He was thrown out of the city. He was physically assaulted, and he sought refuge in a vineyard kind of right outside the city where he was taken care of by one of the servants. But the whole story is a little bit sad, and I debated whether or not I wanted to add such a heavy story in this series, but I decided to go ahead and do it anyway because it's important that you see both the highlights of these stories of the previous prophets as well as some of the trials that they went through. Now I have to say that in this series that there have been more trials than triumphs, but overall I think that it's nice to be able to see some of those challenges that our Prophet ﷺ went through. Alright, so this is what it looks like when the chalk drawing is complete. It was really simple and only took about 10 to 15 minutes. If you'd like to see some of the other lessons in this Waldorf-inspired main lesson block, you can tap on the screen right now. If you want more information about this curriculum that I have developed, you can find that on my website at pepperandpine.com. And if you want to see how our homeschool is progressing on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at pepperandpine.